Have you ever had a conversation with someone and felt like you were speaking to a brick wall? Or maybe you've encountered someone who constantly brings negativity or confusion into your life, and no matter how much you try to make sense of things, it always ends in frustration. What if I told you that these interactions, these signs of stupidity, could actually be understood through the lens of Stoic philosophy, and that by recognizing these signs, you can avoid unnecessary emotional damage and navigate relationships with wisdom and clarity? In today's video, we're diving deep into 7 clear signs of a stupid person, but not just any signs. These are traits rooted in ignorance and emotional immaturity that can hinder both personal and professional growth. And more importantly, we're going to explore how the timeless teachings of Stoic philosophy can help us deal with such people, protect our peace of mind, and even learn from their behavior without letting it drag us down. Whether you're dealing with a difficult coworker, a toxic friend, or just frustrated with the interactions in your life, this video will provide the tools you need to rise above the negativity. Stay tuned, because by the end of this, you'll have a powerful new perspective on how to protect your emotional well-being and strengthen your relationships through Stoic wisdom. 1. Lack of self-awareness. One of the most obvious signs of a person who lacks intelligence, or in Stoic terms, wisdom, is lack of self-awareness. This person is often oblivious to their behavior, how it affects others, and how their actions contradict their own desires. They may fail to recognize their flaws, misinterpret their intentions, and project blame outward instead of owning their mistakes. In Stoic philosophy, self-awareness is the foundation of wisdom and personal growth. Without it, we remain trapped in a cycle of ignorance and poor decision-making. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, taught that we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond. This idea underscores the importance of self-awareness. Our reactions to the world are all that we truly control. By not being self-aware, a person cannot effectively manage their emotions or actions. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it." A lack of self-awareness means that the individual is out of touch with their internal world, and instead, their external world continuously dictates their behavior. Example: imagine a situation where a colleague repeatedly interrupts you during meetings. You point it out, but instead of reflecting on their behavior, they turn the blame back onto you, accusing you of being too sensitive. This lack of self-awareness keeps them from understanding the impact of their actions. As a Stoic, you recognize that you cannot change their behavior directly, but by becoming self-aware yourself, you choose how to react. You calmly set boundaries, asserting your right to speak without interruption, while still maintaining composure and respect. Impact of the concept. Recognizing that you control your reactions helps preserve your emotional energy. Instead of being caught in an endless loop of frustration, you can redirect your focus toward what really matters: your own peace, growth, and dignity. By practicing this Stoic principle, you learn to protect your emotional well-being, allowing you to rise above the disrespect and remain centered. 2. Constant need for validation. A person who constantly seeks validation from others is not only emotionally immature, but also incapable of independent thought. Their self-worth is based on external approval, leading them to engage in attention-seeking behaviors that can be draining for those around them. Stoicism teaches that true value comes from within, and no amount of external praise can provide lasting satisfaction. When we seek constant approval, we give up our power, making our happiness contingent on others. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, wisely stated, "True happiness is to be found in contentment with oneself." This quote captures the essence of why people who constantly seek validation struggle to achieve lasting peace. Their dependence on others for their self-esteem prevents them from growing into emotionally independent individuals. Psychologically, studies show that external validation is a short-term emotional fix, while true contentment comes from knowing who we are, independent of others' opinions. Epictetus also reminds us that we should not base our happiness on external sources, for they are fleeting and unpredictable. Example: think of a friend who always posts on social media, only to check the number of likes and comments right after. If they don't receive the approval they're seeking, they feel disappointed or anxious. You've noticed this pattern many times. Instead of feeling validated internally, their happiness is tethered to others' opinions. By recognizing this, you remember the Stoic principle that true satisfaction comes from within, so you stop allowing your friend's need for validation to affect your perception of their worth. Impact of the concept. When you recognize the constant need for validation in others, you preserve your peace of mind and emotional health. This Stoic practice of detachment allows you to avoid unnecessary stress and focus on what you can control, your own actions and responses. Over time, this builds resilience, making you less vulnerable to the influence of others' negativity and more capable of maintaining emotional balance. 3. Ignorance of consequences. Another sign of someone who lacks wisdom is their ignorance of consequences. This individual makes impulsive decisions without thinking about the long-term impact, often leading to regret or negative outcomes. Stoicism teaches us the importance of foresight and reflection, encouraging us to weigh our actions before making decisions. When someone disregards the consequences, they are not only harming themselves, but also those around them. Marcus Aurelius warned against impulsivity, writing, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This quote highlights the Stoic belief that actions should align with wisdom and foresight, rather than impulsive reactions. A person who ignores the consequences of their actions lacks the self-control to see the bigger picture. Psychological research shows that impulsive behavior can be a result of low emotional regulation, and people who act without thinking tend to face more stress and negative outcomes. Example: consider a time when a colleague ignored the consequences of their actions by making a hasty decision that negatively affected the team. Instead of taking the time to assess the situation, they acted out of frustration, which led to a cascade of problems. You, being aware of the Stoic principle of foresight, took the time to reflect and handle the situation thoughtfully. By weighing the consequences of your decisions, you were able to avoid a similar mistake and help the team navigate the issue calmly. Impact of the concept. By recognizing ignorance of consequences, you can better navigate situations with emotional intelligence and foresight. Stoic wisdom encourages us to take a step back and evaluate the long-term impact of our actions. Practicing this can help you avoid unnecessary mistakes and maintain control over your decisions, leading to better outcomes and emotional stability. 4. A lack of emotional control. One of the greatest signs of someone lacking wisdom is their lack of emotional control. When we lack control over our emotions, we tend to react impulsively, often making situations worse. The Stoic teachings emphasize the importance of mastering your emotions rather than letting them control you. A person without emotional control is like a ship without a rudder. They are tossed about by every wave, responding to whatever emotion comes up in the moment without thinking first. Epictetus famously said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This teaching reflects the Stoic belief in the power of patience and self-restraint. In modern psychology, Emotional intelligence, EQ, is known to be a more important predictor of success than IQ. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. The ability to pause, reflect, and choose a rational response instead of reacting impulsively is key to emotional and personal growth. Example: imagine a situation where someone cuts you off in traffic, and instead of calmly continuing on your way, you're overwhelmed with anger. The person behind you honks, and before you know it, you're engaged in a full-blown argument with a complete stranger. You could have chosen to remain calm, but instead, you let the situation escalate. A Stoic would have paused, remembered that their peace is more important than an argument, and calmly moved on, preserving their dignity. Impact of the concept. Mastering your emotions gives you a sense of inner calm and control that helps you make better decisions. It allows you to respond to difficult situations with rationality, rather than being driven by impulse. The Stoic practice of emotional regulation leads to greater peace of mind and helps you remain strong in the face of adversity. 5. Inability to learn from mistakes. People who are unable to learn from their mistakes are a perfect example of someone who lacks wisdom. Stoicism teaches us to view each failure as an opportunity for growth. A person who constantly repeats the same mistakes without reflection is stuck in a cycle of ignorance. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is the Stoic belief that obstacles are opportunities for learning and growth, not reasons to give up. Psychologists say that the ability to learn from mistakes is a critical component of emotional intelligence. When we fail and reflect on the experience, we gain insight into how we can improve. Stoics emphasize that life is about learning through experience, and the inability to learn from mistakes is a barrier to personal growth and wisdom. Example: imagine a colleague who repeatedly makes the same mistakes at work. Each time, they blame external factors or shift the responsibility elsewhere, never once reflecting on their own actions. Meanwhile, you, following the Stoic practice of self-reflection, analyze your own mistakes and take steps to avoid repeating them. By learning from your failures, you not only grow but also inspire those around you to do the same. Impact of the concept. Learning from mistakes makes you a better, wiser person. It helps you grow emotionally and intellectually. Stoicism encourages this type of growth by teaching that we control our ability to reflect and improve. Applying this principle helps you become a stronger, more resilient individual who learns from setbacks rather than staying stuck in them. 6. Oversensitivity to criticism. Oversensitivity to criticism is another sign of someone lacking wisdom. Instead of seeing feedback as an opportunity to improve, they take it as a personal attack. Stoics teach that criticism, if constructive, is a gift. It's our reaction to criticism that reveals our emotional maturity. Those who cannot accept constructive feedback remain stuck in their own ego, unable to grow or learn. Epictetus wrote, "It's not the things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." This is key to understanding how Stoicism deals with criticism. The ability to accept feedback gracefully and learn from it shows emotional maturity. When we react defensively, we stunt our own growth and close ourselves off from potential improvement. Example: imagine a situation where you receive critical feedback from a boss or mentor. Instead of taking it personally, you recognize it as an opportunity to improve your work. You respond calmly, acknowledging the feedback and making an effort to apply it, knowing that growth comes through constant self-reflection. Impact of the concept. Learning to accept criticism with grace helps you grow and improve, both personally and professionally. The Stoic practice of viewing criticism as a tool for growth strengthens your emotional resilience and keeps you focused on progress rather than taking offense. 7. Constant gossiping. A person who constantly engages in gossip is another clear sign of someone lacking wisdom. Gossip spreads negativity, promotes divisiveness, and adds no value to any conversation. Stoicism teaches us to focus on meaningful dialogue and to avoid engaging in conversations that waste our time or harm others. Constant gossip reflects a lack of maturity, self-control, and respect for others. Seneca said, "Associate with people who inspire you, not those who drag you down." Gossip not only lowers the quality of relationships, but can cause emotional harm to both the speaker and the listener. By avoiding gossip and staying focused on meaningful, respectful conversations, we embody Stoic values that elevate our lives and the lives of those around us. Example: think of a colleague who always has the latest office gossip to share. Instead of focusing on constructive conversation or problem solving, they create unnecessary tension by spreading rumors. By choosing not to engage with this, you protect your own emotional health and maintain a focus on more valuable interactions. Impact of the concept. Avoiding gossip leads to more meaningful relationships, improved emotional well-being, and a better quality of life. Stoicism encourages us to focus on things that matter and bring value to our lives. By doing so, we avoid negativity and create a more positive, empowering environment for ourselves and others. Conclusion. To wrap up, we've explored the 7 signs of a stupid person through the lens of Stoic philosophy. Each of these signs, lack of self-awareness, constant need for validation, ignorance of consequences, lack of emotional control, inability to learn from mistakes, oversensitivity to criticism, and constant gossiping, reveals deep emotional immaturity and a lack of wisdom. However, Stoicism gives us the tools to rise above these behaviors, not only protecting our emotional well-being, but also cultivating wisdom and emotional resilience. By applying the timeless principles of Stoic thought, we can stay centered when faced with challenging personalities, making decisions with clarity and foresight. Recognizing these traits in others helps us avoid unnecessary conflict and emotional turmoil, while allowing us to maintain our peace. Remember, Stoic teachings aren't just about managing others, but about managing ourselves. As we cultivate patience, emotional resilience, and wisdom, we can create a life of greater clarity, purpose, and harmony. Call to action. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of the Stoic principles that we discussed today resonates most with you in terms of handling difficult or disrespectful people? How have you applied Stoic wisdom in your own life to protect your peace? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more Stoic insights and life-transforming tips.